All right, guys, welcome to the Fantasy Sports Wrap. This is a, I don't know, an in-between edition, a midweek edition. We did a few of those, but back at you on a Friday. Deron, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Pulled off a blockbuster.
Explain yourself. I don't like to trade. I don't want to trade. And boom, big trade.
Well, I think it had to do a little bit with you peppering me with questions the last few episodes. Like, Darren, your team stinks. What are you going to do about it?
You're just going to wait around? I can do anything?
Just going to wait around and spend your 3 transactions at the beginning of the week and hope for the best, or what?
Yes.
So I decided to pull off a blockbuster deal. And I traded Giancarlo Stanton. Good riddance. And Mookie Betts actually was tossed in there.
Isn't Giancarlo Stanton like leading the league in like RBI or something like that?
He is, but let me explain. Let me get through the whole thing.
Like, good riddance. I don't want your 50 RBI and your...
Well, it had something to do with, I need some pitching too. And I had to give up something to get... I wanted a stud like Scherzer, because you and I have been talking about starting pitching lately. And it's comforting when you can roll a guy out there like a Greinke or a Scherzer and not have to worry about it. Are they going to win every time they go out? No, but, it's... you got to have starting pitching in this league, as far as I'm concerned. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. And I think you're kind of on board with that. That might change. And maybe I'll deal Scherzer for, I don't know, Abreu or something. Who knows? Anyway, so I got back Scherzer and Kendrys Morales. And with picking up Morales, I was hoping to kind of offset maybe some of the production I'm giving up with Stanton. Because the guy's putting runs and RBIs on the board. He's not hitting as many home runs, but he's got 6 home runs on the year. So had to shake it up. Had to do something. Wallowing at the bottom of the division is not going to cut it.
Man.
And you got to make some moves.
You did.
You wanted Stanton. I know you didn't.
What's that?
You wanted Stanton. I realized that. And I apologize. But I figured, well, you'll make a trade with Dale. You'll get him. He'll end up on your roster.
Initially, when I saw it, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? Because I place more value on Stanton than you do. And that's what you got to think of when you see a trade. You go, what is that guy thinking? What was this guy thinking? Like, you thought Elvis Andrus was better than I did, so I was like, yeah, I don't care, take him. I was going to drop him, Whereas you would be like, no, I'm not going to drop that guy. I tried to trade with Dale for Scherzer, but the guys I wanted to trade, he didn't think there was value there, and he wanted somebody big like that, and I wasn't willing to give him like Gonzalez or Abreu or Gomez or one of those guys. But you were, because you've said it the whole time, Stanton has value, but you were never big on Stanton. Like, he's always bothered you a little bit that he was your number 1 pick, and he hasn't really. He's hitting so low average, mainly, probably.
Well, like, and I think one of the main things that bothers me about his situation, maybe it's not as much of a personal thing, but his team's not performing. They were supposed to be a lot better than what they're showing right now. Now, could that change? It could. D. Gordon is hitting the tar out of the ball. Yeah. He's leading off and doing well, but looking around, reading around, it's just like, is this guy going to be getting pitches to hit as the summer goes on, or are these guys going to continually be bad and they'll pitch around the guy? And he's hitting 230. Yeah, his production's great. And, he could get up to his 280 that he did last year. But, sometimes you just have to pull the trigger on a deal. And I thought getting Morales in return on a really good hitting team, a guy that's producing, I thought was helpful. And, of course, Scherzer was the key to the whole deal. I wanted him on the team. So
right. No, you got an ace. Here's my only thing I didn't like about the deal.
Yeah.
But I've come around to now, because you're right. I will have Stanton on my team at some point, because Dale will get tired of him and trade him, or Dale will get bored in like 3 weeks and trade him, or he'll change what he wants to do, and I'll probably trade like Greinke for Stanton or something. But the thing that I didn't like about it, for me, what I'm trying to do trading wise, because I'd like to get another stud pitcher, is the bar had been set. If you want a stud pitcher, stud reliever, and that's even. Yeah. Well, now if you want a stud pitcher, you have to give up a stud hitter, and I don't want to trade any of my stud hitters. So that's the only thing. As a league, I was like, oh, that kind of changes what everybody's expectations are to get like a stud pitcher, a Matt Harvey, or I'm talking about that because I tried to work a deal with, with Tom Brown, with those guys for that. I'm trying to work a deal with Domorowski for one of theirs. Because there's only a few guys that have a bunch of pitchers left, Docs and Jocks does, but they value their pitchers so much, they're not going to trade them, and they don't have to right now because they're hitting so well, But Dale... I mean, look, it's obvious. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to see what Dale's trying to do. It's shuffle slammers. He's trying to get a great offense, and it looks like he's trying to go what I tried to do early, saves in the ERA and WHIP, because he's trading away all his top pitchers.
Yeah. I
So,
personally, I don't think that can really work. I mean, I saw what you had to go through and how you struggled. It's great if your relievers pitch good, but if you get a blow up, and you're basically sacrificing wins and strikeouts automatically each week. I mean,
right.
you're not guaranteed to get ERA and WHIP. As I've seen, I've got some decent pitchers on my team. It's not like I have a bunch of slugs, but you have one blow up. It's tough to rebound. So getting a guy like Scherzer, I'm hoping can offset maybe one or two of those bad outings. But I got a plan in place on what I want to do. I've got Scherzer now. I got Cole.
Garrett Cole, yeah.
And I got Shields. Those are my three top guys. Liriano's no slouch.
And you've got plenty of closers still too, because you did not have to trade a closer to get your pitcher.
And I didn't really want to. I know most of the league is not high on closers, or they don't have a whole lot of closers. But there are a few teams like yourself. Dale's turning into a kind of closer heavy. Bandits has closers. Docs and Jocks. If I'm going to want to compete with you guys, I'm going to have to throw some closers out there. Of course, there's always a closer sitting around, and there's always someone that's one pitch away from an injury to a closer of stepping into the role. So you can always kind of rely on that. But I'm pretty happy with my bullpen. I don't really want to disrupt that. And he didn't seem like he was interested in, he was interested more in getting some offense. So I gave it to him, and was it the right move? At the time, I thought it was. Could it blow up in my face? Yeah, it could. But
well, here's the deal, right?
To sit back and do nothing while I'm struggling is, I don't know.
Yeah, here's the deal, right? When you break it down, you're to me, I'm most comfortable with how they're going to perform the rest of the year with Max Scherzer, unless he gets hurt. Knock on wood. That was me knocking on wood. I'm more comfortable with him. I think that guy's going to pitch as he has been. I don't think he's going to blow up. I think that guy's going to pitch this way. So I think that's the most solid piece of this deal, and you got him. So you got to be happy about that. I think Stanton's upside is he starts hitting better average. He starts coming around and doing some of those things, and that could be a crazy upside that you'll be going, oh, would have been nice to have. The wild cards are Betts and Morales to me. Morales is playing great now. Is he going to sustain that all year? Plus, they're getting a key player back off injury. Is that going to cut into his time at all? Probably not. Is that going to, I don't know. And then with Mookie Betts, well, his ceiling is great. We saw at the beginning of the year, but he's not playing very, that great right now necessarily.
Right.
From what I've seen. So there's a few wild cards. You won't know. I don't think you'll know who got the better end of this deal until we see how both of you guys are doing. But I do agree with you. Especially the way Tillman Pride's playing right now. If you just sit around and wait and don't pull something off, you could find yourself 3 or 4 weeks from now, 10, 15 games out going, man, I don't think I can catch up. And Shuff's thinking the same thing. He's thinking, I was at the top. Now I'm slowly dropping down. So, you know what, in all honesty, as you look at him, it could turn out to be kind of a wash. He gets a lot of offense. You get a lot of pitching,
It could be, yeah. And there's always guys, I guess for me.
Do you agree with the Morales thing? I mean, did that concern you all to go,
well,
is he playing over his head? Is he going to digress the rest of the year?
Well, yeah, and with Rios coming off the DL, it's kind of like, is that going to cut into his time? I'm not sure because Morales is the DH.
Yeah, it probably won't. It might change him in the order, but probably not.
The only way it affects Morales is that he's not playing in NL Parks. Right. That's the only. He's not playing today. But that doesn't, I'm making the trades effective next week. I'm not really worried about that. I'm not going to not make a deal based on that. I like the fact that he's on a very good hitting team. The Royals are hitting it. Maybe they've slowed down a little bit, but I think for the most part all year, they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. And that was one of the keys to the deal to me too. Okay, I'm getting runs and RBIs in return. It's not like I'm just giving up all this stuff and not getting anything back. Homers I'm giving up. Granted, I'm giving up homers. But you've
been hitting a lot of homers. You've been able to kind of piece guys in there, and some of your guys are starting to hit. What about Betts? Had you kind of given up on Betts, or were you just like, eh?
Betts was actually not part of the original deal. The original deal involved Cole Calhoun. That was the original offer. And Dale was looking for someone with more steals, with a higher steals potential. So I wanted to get the deal done. So he wanted. I gave him the choice. I said, I can do Betts if you want to do that. Betts or possibly Galvis, who's on Philadelphia, but it's a weak hitting team. The guy's stealing bases. He's a shortstop for the Phillies. I didn't really care to part with him because, he's hitting 300 right now.
Maybe I'll trade you for him because I need some shortstop second baseman because Brandon Phillips has turf toe again, so he's not playing again today.
You want to throw me Guthrie then for Galvis? That'd be fine. We can do something like that.
Should throw you who?
Guthrie. Guthrie.
Oh, I'll throw you. No, I'll see. I'll throw you Victor Martinez. He's on the DL.
Oh, that's great.
He's another DH. It doesn't play.
That's tempting. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of my thinking behind the trade. You know, I thought it was reasonable. Yeah,
oh,
you're
it's a
giving
fair
up a
trade. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to veto it. I certainly wasn't going to veto it. It surprised me because you don't like to trade, and it you know, but
it surprised Dale too.
It's exactly what Dale said he wanted, and you wanted to get the job done, so you offered what he wanted. He didn't monkey around with it. I mean, that's a great way to get a trade done. I mean, he was having trouble getting people to trade with him, so maybe the value didn't have to be that high. But at the same time, he was rejecting a lot of deals too. I offered him some deals at a lower value, not because I thought they were still fair, in my opinion.
Right.
He didn't value the guys the same way, but they weren't as high as you offered him, and he was holding his ground. So it's kind of like when I offered him. I mean, I gave him Ryan Braun earlier, and Ryan Braun's playing great now. But I got Abreu, who's hitting close to, he's inched his average up to 300. But I gave him 3 guys for 1, basically, just because I wanted to get the deal done.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, Stan's the only wild card for me. But like I said, every time we've talked, I've always valued Stanton a little more than you have. I think I've always thought of him as a little higher value than you have.
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree with that? I mean, you like him, but you weren't happy with his average was low. And
his average kind of bothered me, and part of my problem is I watch the stuff so closely, and I watch every individual at bat. So when there's a strikeout after strikeout, I get really upset, and it annoys me. And so I maybe micromanage a little bit too much, but I still thought to get someone like a Scherzer, I just had to do it.
Yeah, you gotta pay.
I've seen what you've done with the pitching, and to me it makes sense. You got to have some stud pitchers in your rotation if you're going to compete in those categories. And they're important because you don't know from week to week. If you have a bad offensive week and your opponent, sweeps you in offense and you can't really do anything pitching wise, you're losing 9-1 or 8-2. Yep. So it's a different way of thinking than I thought before when we were doing the steaming and all that kind of stuff. But you have to make adjustments. We only got 3 transactions every week, so.
Well, we talked about that. I mean, you don't like to trade that much, but I mean, in this league, if you don't trade, then you're forced to build it through those. And I tried to build my pitching staff through those. I got Burnett, I got Harang. Those were good pickups. I grabbed Leak, not such a great pickup. I wanted Lincecum. That would have been okay if I had got him. But when I got Greinke, I didn't win the last time he pitched, but you're right. I had a blow up. I think Fernando Rodney blew up. He ended up getting a win, but like a 27 ERA. But it's only 1 inning. Well, if Greinke goes out and gets 6-7 strikeouts in 7 innings, Burnett has 7 innings, Harang has, well, now all of a sudden your ERA, I'm back in ERA and WHIP now. If I didn't have those guys, I'd be no chance in those categories.
Right.
So the starting pitching does, I mean, guys who can burn up innings and give up few walks, hits, and runs. I mean, they're key in this.
Yeah, it really is. I think so. Dale doesn't think that way right now, and he might be right. He might have something else figured out, but playing the whole when you started out playing the whole saves, ERA, and WHIP thing, I'm just like going, man, I don't know. That's kind of dicey. I mean, saves no problem. You're still getting saves, but ERA and WHIP, you just can't know. And especially if you go up against I went up against Domorowski last week, and they just look at him this week, pitching wise. They're getting blown up. Last week they could do no wrong.
Dude, I traded.
And of course, she doesn't.
I traded my best.
She never looks at her team.
I traded my best closer, Houston Street. I've already got 9 saves.
Yeah.
Like literally that didn't affect me at all. But Dale's now got him, and Dale's got 4 saves now in the week. And I mean, right now, this week, it's going to work for him. He's going to win saves, ERA, and WHIP, and he might even win strikeouts and wins the way Domorowski's team's pitching.
I was talking to him about the Street deal yesterday. He said, you know how many innings Street has pitched for him since the trade?
Huh.
1 inning. That's it.
Well, that's good. I mean, see, I look at it this way. He doesn't need him this week. So save those innings for later because he's only going to pitch 60-some innings, 70 innings the whole year, So save them.
Sure.
It's interesting. Kim pointed out wisely that in the 4 weeks I tried that, it worked 2 out of the 4 weeks. So if Dale gets 2 out of the 4 weeks, maybe that's all he needs. I mean, Brian Braun's hitting the ball well now. He's got Stanton, so maybe that's enough for him, to do that. Mm-hmm. For me, I just realized. It was so tough. You could be winning, and then on Friday, 3 guys get blown up and you're done, And the only thing you guaranteed yourself each week was saves. Well, I can trade 2 of those guys and still pretty much guarantee myself saves every week,
Mm-hmm.
So,
sure.
So I'm still actively trying to do that. I almost had a deal with Tom, Brown to trade a closer for one of his guys, and then there were some injury things, and some guy, Harvey got kind of put on the shelf, so he's like, well, I can't trade anybody now, and Trying, like you said, trying to work with some other folks to get some starting pitching. But it'll be interesting. We'll keep an eye on Dale. Dale's problem is my problem. You get bored. You look at it so much, and you go, "Oh, I want to adjust this, change this," And sometimes you overdo it. We look at it and we go, "I haven't traded anybody in a week. I can trade." We just like trade to make trades sometimes. Like we like the action. So it would not shock me if in less than a month we see a little note, "Hey, Stanton's on the board, guys. Stanton's available." So last night I was
back. Who knows?
Last night I was laughing. I was like, man, I can't believe Deron knows I wanted this guy and he traded him to Schuff. Are you kidding me? I was like, oh, I'm gonna get him in like 3 weeks. Like,
that's right. It's gonna be great. You got a better chance of getting him from Dale than you do from me, so you should be happy about that.
That's true. Hey, the other thing, Deron, I know you said you're looking at some other things, so we'll keep an eye on that. But look at this: the East going into Friday, winning.
How about
winning or tied in everything?
East? Yeah,
and dominating. Yeah. I mean, Schuff is dominating Domorowski, which you can't laugh at that because you tied him last week. and Bandits is crushing Phoenix Tower. And Docs and Jocks, Tillman Pride is crushing them.
Yeah.
Dude, if I can pull off a 6-4 or a 7-3 on Britain, and you guys keep doing that, I could jump to the first place or right in my league. Yeah. But I got a tough fight. I'm 4-4-2 with Team Britain right now. Both of us are just kind of.
I'm in a tussle too with Mounties. I don't know. Everything's real close, and it could go either way. So.
Yeah, I got a bunch of categories that could go either way. Except
I think the only thing I've really got locked up. Or I don't know if I have it locked up, but stolen bases I feel pretty good, and batting average.
6-1, you're going to beat him 6-1, yeah. Oh yeah, 310. Yikes.
Saves. I mean, I'm in a dogfight for saves, and that rarely happens. So
look, because he's got Holland and he's got a couple good guys, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Mounties. Yeah. So, well, anyway, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was at first when I saw it, I was a little surprised, but then the more I thought about that, he's not big on that guy, and he's not this and that. I did like the fact that once Mookie Betts learned he got traded, he went off last night. So,
yeah, that was great. You know what? He can go off all weekend as far as
counts for you.
It does. It does. And he's in Texas too. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah,
he is hitting in Texas, and his splits to me too. Throughout most of the season so far, he hits good at Fenway, but then he goes on the road and he just can't hit. Now this might change this weekend. Maybe this will be the change. And. Of course, I get my Sports Illustrated today, and on the inside cover with the glossaries, there's a big picture of Mookie Betts making a catch. I'm like going, oh, and they're talking about him inside. I'm like going, oh, man, what did you do?
Yeah, but you don't get credit for his catches, so don't worry about it.
No, or the article, or his articles in Sports Illustrated, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, look, when I first saw it, like I said, I was a little like, oh man, I think Schuff got the better in this deal just because I really like Stanton a lot.
Yeah.
But then as I thought about it more, I thought, man, this is a perfect trade because each guy got exactly what he was looking to get from it. So you should feel good about your trade going, man, I got Scherzer and I got Morales, who's playing great right now. And he's got to feel happy that he got, two guys who he feels like are going to just continue to get better and better throughout the year.
Right.
So it was a good trade all the way around.
I thought so, yeah. And depending on, regardless of how it turns out, at the time you make the trade, you thought, oh, this was the best thing to do. And so I pulled the trigger. And Dale was surprised, too. Dale said he got home from work. I didn't send him a text message or anything. He gets home, logs on. He's like, oh, I got a trade off. He was like, oh, my gosh, I got a trade offer from Deron. What the heck? His first text to me was just like, wow, can we talk on the phone? I'm like, oh, boy, he's going to want to try to get some more out of me. So anyway, but it, that was the only change. I threw Betts in there instead of Calhoun. But
well, I was at my daughter's. My daughter had an orchestra thing that night, and it clicked up on my phone. I looked and it said, hey, the trade has been accepted. Well, I have a trade out there with somebody. I think, oh, they accepted it. So I click on it, and I'm thinking to see Looper sends, and it says Slammers rescinds. And I was like, and I see Stan. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then the lights come down and they start playing, and I'm like, crud. So then I start getting texts from Mounties, and he's like, did you see that trade? Who do you think got the better deal? Do you think he'd trade me? Hey, I'm going to send a trade. So we're texting back and forth. It's pretty funny.
All of a sudden, it was just like there was blood in the water because then I get an offer from Mounties about 20 minutes after the trade's accepted, and of course that one's not going to work out. But anyway, it was kind of funny.
Well, it depends. If people think you got the better end of the deal, then they're going to probably try to get something out of Schuff. They're thinking, oh, he's selling, I mean, so
I'll probably get about
versa.
10 offers, that means, because everyone's going to think, oh, dude, Darren just really screwed up. He gave up Stanton. So,
Well,
but at least people know I'm willing to trade. Hey.
Here's the thing, man. Like I said, I like Stanton a lot, but like I've got Abreu, Gomez, Tulo. I've got a bunch of guys who at 1-2 on the thing. But the guys who are playing better for me are Justin Upton, who was like a 3rd or 4th rounder. I mean, Ryan Braun, who I traded, was like a 5th rounder. He's playing great. I mean, Nelly Cruz was a 5th rounder. So a lot of these first rounders are playing well. Bryce Harper was, what, a 3rd rounder or something like that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you don't, I get in the habit sometimes of thinking, oh, these are first rounders. I can't trade a first rounder for, a not first rounder or whatever. But it's like, well, but if Morales is out hitting Stanton in everything except home runs right now, why not?
Yeah. Well, in batting average, I've talked about before, batting average has been a problem for me.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to sustain it? I don't know. He might. He's in a change of scenery. The guy's hitting the cover off the ball.
And he might be healthy for the first time in 4 years, too.
Yeah. And we were talking about it, too. The standout year he had with the Angels was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it was sick.
He hit over 300, hit over 30 home runs or something like that. It just, so.
But Dale's got to be excited because Dale's going, I got that guy for waivers and flipped him for Stanton and Betts. My number 2 draft pick and a waiver guy, I got Stanton and Betts out of the deal. So he's got to be happy, too. So everybody's happy.
Oh, sure. Yeah. For now.
For now.
Yeah.
We'll need to see what everybody else. We're going to put this up on Facebook, so give us your comments, see what you think of the trade, what you think of the deal. I never go in there and rate who won or whatever, but I was about to go in and just be like, I do not approve this trade because I wanted Stanton, you sons of. But I didn't because that wouldn't have been right. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So anyway, hey, congratulations. I'm just excited you pulled off a trade. I bet Dale probably did fall out of his chair. He's like, well, that guy doesn't trade. What's going on? And not only a trade, kind of a ballsy trade. I like it.
Yeah. Blockbuster deal. Hey, I feel like I just won the title making the trade.
You might have. Well, there's still a couple of days to go in the week, but as of now, might be the first time in 3 weeks that the East comes out on top in this one because right now it's very close, but there's a couple where the East is dominating the West.
Yeah. Way to go, East.
What shirt you have on there? Is that a Blackhawks?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, look at you, the hockey fan coming out.
Game 7 tomorrow night, baby.
Where's that at? Is that?
It's in Anaheim.
Oh, that's right. And the winner plays. There's a game 7 tonight,
plays,
right?
Yeah. Tampa Bay at the Rangers tonight. So
in the Garden. Well, not the Garden. That's the Boston Garden.
Game 7 in the Garden. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, congratulations on the trade. We'll see how we'll definitely keep track of this one. We'll add to the Michael Brantley watch. We'll add a Giancarlo Stanton, Max Scherzer watch.
I'm sure Team Britain will appreciate taking some of the spotlight off the Brantley watch a little bit.
Never will there be spotlight off the Brantley watch.
Did you see? By the way, before we go, did you see her picture she posted of her sitting on the couch, just in agony? It was good. That's how I look every day in this league since this league began. Just this look of I feel a migraine coming on kind of thing. Like, oh gosh, why?
Well, and look. Kim, bless her heart, she floated out I'm not going to be able to look at my team. Poor me. I got 3 beautiful kids graduating. Oh, my life is horrible. And then, but she did leave. She has a pitching slot open. That wasn't that. She should have put that in. But that happens to all. That's why I try not to get too upset. I left Hayward on the bench instead of, and he got a home run. Then Gomez, I put in Hamilton. He goes 0 for 4. Gomez goes 2 for 5. I mean, that's my problem. When you have extra guys to slot in, I tend to never get that slot just right. So I try to. These are my guys. I'm going with them. Whatever.
You know what I find helps, and I know this sounds really ridiculous, but
Whiskey.
when a guy's going bad, put him on your bench, and he'll snap out of it.
Like he knows.
Teach him a lesson.
Well,
Ian Desmond. I put Desmond on the bench for 3 games. Now the guy's on fire. I lost a little production, but he's,
You know what happened after the game last night? All the major league games last night. They're like, dude, he traded Stanton. We got to get our stuff going. He traded Stanton. If he traded Stanton, nobody's safe. And right. For Schuff, they're like, he traded Scherzer, Max Scherzer. No, oh my gosh, we got to start pitching. Yeah. Oh my.
Well, goodness. Mookie Betts, he heard about the trade and he was all happy. He's like, get me out of Racerville, man. I want to get out of here.
He's like, this guy is on my rear all the time. I got to go somewhere else. He's enjoying the change of scenery. So
yeah.
All right, guys, we want to jump on and do this one real quick, but we ended up talking a long time. But good stuff. Send us your thoughts on the trade. Comment on Facebook. We got let's see, Brown's on there quite a bit. Britton's on there. Docs and Jocks every now and again. Pat every now and again. Everybody jump on there and go for it. Let us know what you think. All right. Congratulations, Deron. We'll see how it goes. We'll keep tabs on it. We'll talk to you later.
Sounds great, man.
All right, see ya.